On my part 1 video about clutch damper replacement, I demonstrated the parts that needs to be removed or disassembled to get our clutch basket out from the crankcase where our lousy rubber clutch damper is located. If you have not checked out that video yet, please do check it before watching this video. Today, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to part 2. I will show you how I removed the rivets, installed the new one along with the new rubber clutch damper. This is PH Motor Thread again. If you love motorcycles, I will be mad if you do not subscribe to the channel and click that bell button as well for my fresh videos every week. Just a little disclaimer before we begin. This video should not be treated as a definitive way to do this operation. If you do not have the specific tools that I highlighted on the part 1 video, I'll say it again, better keep your hands off from your motorcycle. In fact, what makes this video interesting today is that I will show you guys how I almost screw up and ruin my clutch basket. I initially happened to remove the rivets the wrong way, and this is what happened. As soon as I removed my clutch basket from the engine, I already had an idea that the rivets heads on this side needs to be drilled, which was the most common way motorcycle mechanics do to remove the rivets. In fact, this is the most effective way to do it. The process begins by using the smallest drill bit in a set. Ideally, you need to use a center punch to make a marker at the center of each rivet's heads before starting to drill. What I am using is a manual center punch, the one you paired with the hammer. The purpose of making these small punctures by a center punch is to make sure that the drill bit won't slide to the side when we begin drilling. After making the small punctures, I then began drilling into the center of the rivet's heads. After I drill into the rivet heads, I then switch to a bigger drill bit, a size which is almost the same diameter as these pressed rivet heads. The purpose of drilling again using a bigger bit is to make the heads thinner, and the reason why we want to make it thinner is so that it would be easier for us to bust these heads off using a chisel. Ideally, we must use a metal chisel. I did not have any, so I used a wood chisel instead, which somehow worked out because I was able to bust the rivet heads off. Now, the next process to do is press the remaining body of the rivets all the way down using the center punch or an improvised metal that should be narrower than the drill hole. However, this was when I realized that I really screwed up and almost ruined my clutch basket. As soon as I do that, I noticed that the rivets are very hard to be pushed down. In fact, it would even scatter or lock again the more I hammer them down to get them out. Now you are curious, what or where was the miss or what went wrong? Well, the answer was very simple. Remember that initial drilling that we do using the tiniest bit, we need to drill almost all the way through the body of the rivets, surpassing this aluminum part. In that way, the rivets will not lock again like its property as a rivet when you hammer it down by a center punch. Since I already busted the heads of the rivets off and messed up the tip of the rivets that are left on this side, I now need to do the same kind of drilling again on the other side. This time I have drilled almost all the way through. The holes are not shallow anymore. The only thing that you need not to do from this side is the use of chisel. We will not use the chisel anymore. After doing the same pattern of drilling where we use a bigger bit on this side, we go ahead and use the center punch or any improvised metal that you have as long as it is narrower and it fits through the holes that you made. You just need to gently punch it down to push these annoying rivets out, and bingo. I did this to all rivets and it worked. I was able to remove all the rivets out. After removing all the rivets, we are now ready to install our new rubber damper as well as the new rivets. However, before we do that, we need to clean all parts, which consist of the outer plate, the driven gear, and the aluminum basket. We can use a soap and water or a compressed air to remove the small metal residue of drilling. Make sure that the parts are also dried out. After doing so, we then go ahead and install the rubber damper this way. We already have the driven gear with holes being inserted to these narrow aluminum teeth. We then insert the new rubber damper. I will not explain the position or direction you should put them on, as you will figure it out yourself because of the shape of the hole in the rubber damper. After doing so, we then install the new rivets. The pack of the clutch damper comes with the rivets. What we do first is get a pair of rivets and then insert them from this side of the clutch basket in the opposing hole. These rivets will serve as markers, so when we install the first rivet, rivet, the plate won't move and mess up the position of the holes. Using this kind of hammer as our pad, we insert the first rivet from the bottom up, put the basket to our pad, making sure that the head of the rivet is placed against the pad, and then from this side, we start hammering the other tip to spread it and lock it, which basically is the purpose or the property of a rivet. After doing so, install the second rivet to the opposing hole where we installed the first one. Do the same thing that we did on the first one. Again, insert it from bottom up and hammer the tip on the other side to flatten and lock. After installing a couple of rivets, we can then go ahead and remove the two marker rivets that we have inserted to this side. We then install them like the other ones by doing the same process. After all the rivets are installed, you need to run through the rivets heads and hammer them again a couple of times to make sure that all heads are thoroughly flattened and are locking the whole clutch basket set properly. After doing this, it would not really hurt to wash or air compress the whole clutch basket again before reinstalling. My part 3 video, ladies and gentlemen, will show you how I installed the parts back and tested my motorcycle engine sound compared to when the new clutch damper was not installed yet. So watch out for it by staying subscribed to the channel. Mga pops and mga mamshis, thank you for watching this video. Ride safe always. See you on the part 3 video and peace!